KFOX 14 News at 5's Jonathan Mejia.
KFOX 14 News at 9's Jonathan Mejia joining us now live.
Things are looking very busy once again out on the streets of El Paso. This is the current situation here outside of Sacred Heart Church in Segundo Barrio. Take a look. Migrants are out on the streets once again. I'm here in the alley outside of Sacred Heart Church where you can see there are now hundreds of migrants. Numbers are being reported that there are more than 1,000 migrants out on the streets of El Paso here surrounded the Sacred Heart Church. And as you can see, migrants have started to make an encampment here all around the block, despite Mayor Oscar Luisa saying over the weekend that the city would be clearing out these areas for the safety of the migrants and the public. Usted me contaba del baño, ¿cómo es la situación de estar en el baño? You were telling me about the bathrooms. What are the conditions inside the bathroom?
Mi vida, lo que pasa es que aquí se vive una situación bastante crítica. Como ves, pues la mayoría de las personas están en la calle y no porque queremos, simplemente porque venimos de nuestro país en busca de una mejor vida.
So she says that the situation that they're living here is very critical. As you can see, there are hundreds of migrants out here. And she says they're out here not because they want to be, but because of the situation they're living in Venezuela. I'm at one of 3 Las Cruces Border Patrol checkpoints. Now, Border Patrol tells me that last week alone, they had more than 70 human smuggling attempts in the El Paso sector. All along the El Paso sector border wall, you'll see several breaches like this one, making it easier for smugglers to make it from Mexico into the United States and make it further into the city. That's right. As you mentioned, several police agencies and different agencies within the community have been outside here, Cielo Vista Mall. Now, right behind me, you'll see Texas DPS state troopers. Now, this is the area where we've seen multiple Sun Metro buses taking people from the mall to the reunification center at Burgess High School. But right now, we're at the scene of the breaking news here in the Lower Valley, right between Alameda Avenue, and we're here on Fresno. I want you to take a look at what's happening right now. Right now, you're seeing El Paso police. What they've done is put some road flares here on the streets to redirect traffic, because we've been seeing several cars coming up here and they've just been redirecting traffic. But as we continue on to the scene of what's happening here on Alameda Avenue, as you can see, there are still several units here on the scene. I'm here outside of the Jaguars Club, as you mentioned, in East El Paso. As you can look right behind me, there are still several El Paso police units on the scene investigating. Crimes against persons detectives are investigating an officer-involved shooting. I'm here near Loop 375 on West Paisano Drive. Now, El Paso police are responding to a deadly pedestrian crash. Now, upon arriving to the scene, El Paso police say that the pedestrian died at the scene. Now, while I was making my way here to this live shot location, I was able to see the body bag, and I was also able to see El Paso Fire on the scene, as well as U.S. Customs and Border Patrol on the scene. Agents were in their units and other agents were on the ATVs looking for what could be more pedestrians.
But our chain of command that's anticipating, they get these reports and they'll anticipate this.
It was a calm morning for the Texas Aircraft Operation Divisions, and while we didn't see any interjection with smuggling or pursuits, agents showed us how they use their intel and technology from the sky to keep those on the ground safe. The Texas Department of Public Safety's Aircraft Operations Division assists law enforcement agencies in El Paso and across the state.
Hydraulic isolation switch.
This kind of just gives an extra piece of equipment for the officers on the ground to be able to assist them with searches, surveillances, pursuits, search and rescues, things of that nature.
In El Paso, Texas DPS has 2 aircrafts, the A-Star 350 helicopter and the Cessna 208 Caravan airplane. The Cessna Caravan can last for almost 6 hours.
616 runway 26 last check.
Both are equipped with technology that helps troopers from above and below.
The aero computer mapping system, it allows us to plug in addresses, GPS coordinates, certain places and waypoints that are already inside the aircraft.
The helicopter also comes equipped with an MX-10 camera that uses infrared technology to help agents search day and night. That same technology has helped the Aircraft Division assist state troopers on the ground with vehicle pursuits.
We're able to get eyes on the target quicker, and we're able to call out their locations and direction of travel, allowing the officers on the ground to concentrate on their driving and not have to be talking on the radio.
While the helicopter is more visible to flying at low altitudes, the airplane is more discreet. That gives the Aircraft Division cover to help Border Patrol monitor smugglers who try to move people and drugs into the U.S.
Our Cessna platform, it's a high-altitude platform. It flies a lot higher than the helicopter as far as the equipment on it. We can maintain a further distance, a lot more discreet. and can stay up in the air a lot longer.
You got 3 right below you at the tunnel. There's 2.
Captain Germán Chavez explained that criminal organizations have been taking advantage of the vulnerability of migrants. Recently, there was a deadly fire at a migrant detention facility in Ciudad Juárez that prompted many migrants to turn themselves over to Border Patrol along the border highway. Chavez says with the Border Patrol and other law enforcement focus on the migrants at the border highway,
The migrants are coming through Juárez and they're being transported out to the desert west of Juárez.
the Upper Valley and Sunland Park were left wide open for human smugglers. One of the reasons he says we see so many car chases in those areas.
And there's just, they can just breach the fence with larger groups.
Gonna be right under our wing right now.
Once the migrants make it across, their objective is to get deeper into the United States by way of El Paso.
That smuggler already has a location of where they're supposed to transport them to, you know what I mean? Whether it's a stash house or try to get them up further north, but that's kind of the stuff that we're seeing from the air.
The El Paso border sector is one of the busiest in the country with more than 260,000 migrant encounters as of March 31st, according to El Paso Border Patrol Chief Anthony Good. With Title 42 going away in a matter of weeks, I asked Captain Chavez how long troopers and the aircraft division could remain in El Paso.
At this point, we're taking it an event at a time.
He says he wouldn't expect to go anywhere anytime soon.
But our chain of command that's anticipating, they get these reports and they'll anticipate this. So I foresee that this will definitely continue to increase.
Captain Chavez says he appreciates the opportunity to work with local and federal law enforcement agencies here in El Paso. And he says regardless of how people feel about Texas DPS presence here in the borderland, their job is to keep them safe. En ese momento, ¿temiste por tu vida? At that moment, were you afraid for your life? Migrants I spoke with tell me they were kidnapped right here outside of the Greyhound bus station in downtown El Paso. And they tell me that they are sharing their stories in hopes that justice will be served.
De verdad que no me imaginaba que esto me iba a pasar aquí, porque yo desde que salí de allá no me ha pasado nada hasta que llegué aquí a Estados Unidos.
De ninguna manera, porque es un país que en la perspectiva del mundo es un país de primer mundo.
These Venezuelan migrants left their country at the end of September and arrived in El Paso at the end of December. While they all come from the same country and shared the same journey to the United States, they say they would have never thought a situation in El Paso after they crossed the border illegally would bring them together.
Sí, ya tenía un presentimiento mal, ya yo veía el chofer un poquito como nervioso, pero más nervioso estaba yo.
In their attempt to get further away from the border and avoid deportation, they booked a ride to the Super 8 Airport Hotel using a Facebook page called Uber El Paso.
Me dio más miedo fue la migración, por eso sin pensarlo mucho me subí al Uber. Quería salir del área de peligro. Pues. Para mí el área de peligro en ese momento era el Greyhound por la migración.
The driver picked them up at the Greyhound bus station and took them to a Walmart so they could cash out a money order to pay him. But after completing the transaction, the migrants say he ordered them into a pickup truck and told them not to run or else they would die.
Los nervios, yo me sentí un poquito nervioso en lo que me hicieron el traslado para la troca y yo hice caso, pues, porque uno venezolano y uno, de verdad que yo me sentí un poquito nervioso.
Mis nervios ya pasaron de la migración a ver la realidad de la situación, pues ya que por las películas, cosas que se ven, pues no sé.
The men said there were 6 other migrants in the truck. They told me they were taken to a home in central El Paso. They say they were locked in a room where a man with a gun held watch for 2 days. En ese momento, ¿temiste por tu vida? At that moment, were you afraid for your life?
Por supuesto, ya me estaba dando miedo, no sabía qué era lo que iba a pasar. Pero me daba más miedo salir o sea, como salir corriendo de donde estaba o algo, porque, no sé, como somos personas que no estamos al tanto de cómo se maneja aquí su sistema.
The migrants say they were recorded and forced to say their name, age, and location, as well as a final destination that the gunman wrote on a piece of paper.
El lugar para donde íbamos, que yo no conozco esa parte que nos informaron que dijéramos.
¿Cuál era ese lugar? ¿Se recuerda?
Odessa.
Odessa.
Okay. Nos obligaron a decir, yo no sé dónde queda, nos obligaron a decir eso.
The migrants say they were told to pay $1,500 to be released. The captors let one of the migrants use his phone to call a cousin who sent what he had in his account, which was $675 via Zelle. Cuénteme del día que pudieron salir de esa situación.
Y en lo que ellos se los llevaron a los 6, como los sacaron como a las 8 de la noche. Ahí ellos cerraron la puerta, la ajustaron y nosotros venimos y salimos y vimos que la puerta estaba abierta y de una vez salimos y salimos corriendo también.
After escaping, the migrants say they went to El Paso police and the FBI, but feel like they ran into a dead end.
Y llegamos allá y hablamos con la autoridad, pero la autoridad dijo que ese era un problema muy fuerte, que ahí no se puede hacer nada.
Cual yo tengo la ubicación de esa casa, se la dije al FBI, se la dije a la policía, les mostré los captures, tengo el número de teléfono de la persona que nos pidió la transferencia por Cele.
KFOX 14 reached out to El Paso police. They confirmed that EPPD and Homeland Security are looking into the case, but could not provide more information as it is an active investigation. KFOX 14 also contacted the FBI in El Paso, and like police, they said they are investigating but cannot comment on the case.
When we look at a case, whether it's a civil rights violation targeting a migrant, whether it's a kidnap for ransom, our goal is to make sure that we are investigating that violation.
Jeffrey Downey is the special agent in charge for the FBI in El Paso. He says from January of last year to this year, 93 people reported they were kidnapped for ransom, and the FBI made 20 individual arrests. Downey says there could be more cases as many goes unreported due to migrants being afraid of deportation.
If you do become a victim, you can't be afraid to report it. And I'll tell you that the FBI's focus is on the criminal activity that's occurring, not on the immigration piece of it.
The migrants even reached out to El Paso State Senator Cesar Blanco for help.
We want to make sure that immigrants have rights as well, that they are protected under the Constitution, and making sure that no one's taking advantage of them.
The migrants say after making the dangerous journey through Central America and Mexico, only to be kidnapped in the U.S., all they want is to be heard and for justice to be served.
A la policía, bueno, que nos tome en cuenta el problema, ya que posiblemente estén personas pasando el mismo proceso y el mismo problema.
If you're suspecting any suspicious crimes or activities, you can report anonymously to the El Paso FBI. Just head on over to our website at kfoxtv.com. Reporting in downtown El Paso, Jonathan Mejia, KFOX 14 News at 9.